All right, here we go. Restarted. Got the right clip. Focused. Get your nicotine. Get ready, because we're in it now. This is fifth generation psychological warfare. We're in it. You gotta be all the way in it, because this could go down at any time, and it's already starting.
Stop those of us who support, as most of us do.
Here,
Israel.
there we go.
It's time we stop those of us who support, as most of us do, Israel in this body.
This is
We're
1986.
apologizing for our support for Israel. There is no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel. Second part is people should understand by now, that should be crystal clear, that Israel is the single greatest strength America has in the Middle East. I always say to my friends when I say those things to you, I say, imagine our circumstance in the world.
This might be later. What's the first?
How many battleships would there be? How many troops would be stationed? You know, I used to say early on when I was a kid, I'd say when I was a young senator, I'd say, if I were you, I'd be a Zionist. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Zionist. Progress occurs in the Middle East when everyone knows there's simply no space between the United States and Israel. There is no space between the United States and Israel when it comes to Israel's security. There is only one nation in the world that has unequivocally, without hesitation, and consistently confronted the efforts to delegitimize Israel. At every point in our administration, at every juncture, we stood up on behalf of legitimacy of the state of Israel. The security of Israel and the United States is inextricably tied, and we will never, ever, ever abandon Israel out of our own self-interest. I also emphasize what I've said throughout this conflict. The United States fully supports Israel's right to defend itself against indiscriminate rocket attacks from Hamas and other Gaza-based terrorist groups that have taken the lives of innocent civilians in Israel.
All right. I'd only actually seen the first clip. I think that's kind of probably the most important statement in there, because I think it, from my understanding of it, it shows what I think a lot of what's being missed in this is that we are in the war already. The U.S. is in these wars. It's in other countries, but we're doing it through other countries. He's saying if there wasn't an Israel, we'd have to invent an Israel. If we didn't have an excuse to, if there wasn't Israel as an excuse to be over there looking out for all these interest groups, then they'd have to make one. And it's the same thing with Ukraine. And people don't see that we're really in these wars, and I think it's just the start. Because I was saying, I don't know, a couple months ago, like, we got a year. I don't know how long it's going to be. I did do a poll on my story, and I don't know if it shows up when you do a poll. I think it does, but it came out 60% said that that before 2030, and then 20% said before 2025, 20% said after 2030. Nobody said no. Again, this is, I would say, you know, it might be biased because people that follow me, but also those are all the super geniuses and the people who are psychically in tune with this stuff and know what's going on. So anyway, I think Yeah, there's major economic problems that are either gonna, if they can't be solved, um, by the Fed, they're gonna be solved with a war, and that's what we see happening. Also, I don't know how we're in, and um I need to get this, super organized, because I'm fully in with this Atlantis 2 thing, and I think we need to make this happen, whether it turns into a country, whether it turns into just a network, whether it turns into, we can kind of be, maybe it'll just be a couple people and it'll turn into a, not a couple people, but maybe it'll be a smaller group, maybe it'll be a little chimp tribe, and would kind of turn into like a skull and bones, but for good stuff, not for like weird rituals and 9/11, but for like Atlantis 2 type stuff. Um, but yeah, this is the time to do it, and I'm fully in trying to get this. If you want to make some moves and try and change the course of things, we're in a very opportune time to do it. Over the next 20 years, I think, is a major transition period. And even Ray Dalio's saying this stuff. It's like, you got somebody that runs the biggest hedge fund in the world. They might be on to some things. And I need to get the podcast really organized, because that's what I realized. It's like, at first I was like, maybe I'll drop everything and just figure out how to do this stock stuff, just figure out the money first. And but it's like, I think if we get this really organized, then we can make it through doing all this. So I need to get the podcast more organized, but maybe I'll have a separate little 5 minutes every week of, here's what's going on with this stuff, and then I'll go through the news at the beginning, and or whatever guest is on, and then also I think it was named seminary for a reason. Maybe I couldn't see at the time, but I think that definitely needs to be a section of the show, is reading through um Revelations, and you know the book of the law, or whatever is applicable, and because there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of people who are in tune with the way things are going, and there's a lot of things that line up. Um, and yeah, I think we need to do this now, because it's like there's a lot of problems out there, and it's like, do you want to see them as problems? I mean, they are problems, but they could also be opportunities for us to get in there, and a better way to do things. And yeah, I think this could happen. Um, but also we should probably keep this. I was thinking, hmm, you gotta figure out, if you're really on to some stuff, are you gonna keep it? Which I'm not saying I am, but if this starts to work, you got to either figure out a way to really have some leverage and secure yourself. You gotta Or you gotta figure out a way to make yourself look crazy. Otherwise they come and get you, because it's like, unless you can say some real stuff, you can be Alex Jones or Kanye, but then you have to go out and be like, it's the Jews, the shooting was fake, and then people can just sue you and write you off as it's crazy, and they don't have to come kill you, because anybody who went after this stuff in a real um in a not I don't mean that they didn't go after it in a real way, but in a more calculated way. William Cooper said the Clintons were after him and all these people were after him. Then he got shot by the cops. Sergey Manas, I don't know if that's how you say his name, but the guy who wrote Project Bluebeam came up with all that stuff. He gets put in jail. The day after he gets out, heart attack. And anyway, let's see. All right. First of all, with this attack though, I need to research this stuff more, but I'm not seeing how on like one of the most contested borders in the world they came in with fucking paragliders. I mean, they're fast, but they're not that fast, right? They got shit that shoots, and granted, homemade rockets, right? Missiles or whatever, but they got stuff that it's called what's it called? Iron Dome or whatever. Shoots them out of the sky, and they can't hit a couple paragliders coming in. And they can't have a better reaction to it than that. So it's like people are just seeing and reacting to what they're being shown and just immediately picking a side. And it's like what's going on is probably a lot bigger than what's being shown. So either this was planned or it was allowed to happen. Because this has happened a lot of times before. This is 9/11. This is the Gulf of Tonkin when in Vietnam, where they said Vietnam blew up the ships. It was really the U.S. This is probably Pearl Harbor. They knew Pearl Harbor was going to happen, but they let it happen because to get into the war right then. There's like I didn't watch the whole thing, but and this is a while ago, but there's a documentary 9/11, the new Pearl Harbor, that's like 6 hours in depth on all this stuff, or probably Loose Change. There's like the second Loose Change. They go over all this stuff. The Hitler burned the I might not have the details on this right. Hitler burned the Reichstag or whatever, and blames it on somebody else, and then they go in with this stuff, or they just allow it to happen. But I'm saying a lot of this stuff is allowed to happen. This is I'm just not I'm not seeing a way that they fly paragliders in and do this over the border that easily. So it's like it is Israel and Palestine, but it's also larger interest groups that are behind this stuff. It's just like Iraq might be behind Hamas or whatever. We're definitely behind Israel. And it's like I don't know the details on this stuff. I don't know that they particularly matter to us, to our movement. A lot of people like to go in, they like to go Russia, Ukraine, I'm with Israel, I'm with Palestine, and it's like I don't know. That's the best thing you can I personally think is like it's not worth it for me to have an opinion. I just go, I don't know. What can I actually do with this information and how does it actually apply to us? Because a lot of people are arguing over things that don't have any impact on their lives. And this definitely will, but it's like what do you want to choose to focus on? So I don't know if we're connected to Israel mainly through them because a lot of people are like, oh, they have control over us, like they're lobbying, or it's like how Egypt or whoever it was was given that one senator, the gold bricks he had in his closet and all the cash in his jacket and all that. It's like it could be partly that, but I think just like the Hunter Biden clip or Joe Biden clip really substantiated that for me, that that this is just an excuse for our interests over there. So it's like there's countries still, but countries are really just for poor people. They're not for the people who are really running things at the top behind the scenes. They're not for these the world's more ran by like interest groups and corporations now. Like um or even like I'm mean this in a larger sense and in like individual, people. Like they asked Ghislaine, however you say, Ghislaine Maxwell, how they're like, are you a U.S. citizen? Are you a Israel citizen? She's a citizen in all these different places. Um, but yeah. Uh, so let's see. Um, I think there's a lot of opportunity here just throughout all the chaos, and if people kind of wake up to what's really going on. Also with the market, it's like, yeah, this isn't one of those good times where any dummy can just go in and just buy calls every week and make money. Um, things are going to be a little bit more unpredictable, but if you know where things are going, there's some big moves happening. There's some big opportunities. Like uh probably we should have just I should be, put my money where my mouth is a little bit ahead of time and really thinking through this stuff. Um and going, okay, I think there's going to be a war. Where should you put your money, which a lot of people might say is unethical, but it's probably not going to make a big difference. And you gotta do what you gotta do. We gotta get prepared by any means, I think, right now, because things can really go down. The people at the top are prepared for like all out destruction, and I don't really know that they would mind it, and I think a lot of them might even want it. Um, yeah. I was just listening to Warmode and doing some. They were talking about the Denver airport, how that is all. Which I'm not even gonna go all the way into the Denver airport right now, but I slept there one night. I don't even know if I've recovered from it yet. It's a dark place. There's a lot of weird stuff going on there. But yeah, apparently that whole thing, there's all these dumbs, these deep underground military bases. There's the Denver airport, which is probably like they were saying it's you go, if if Bill Gates is at home or whatever, or the president or whoever it is, and everything starts getting nuked, you just they probably have a bunker right there. But if you're in the air, they're like, all right, let's head down to Denver. And apparently that whole thing is like nuke, like ready. Um, and that's what all that underground shit is for down there. Um, but yeah, where was I going with this? Um, just a lot of this is, it's like not what you're being shown on like the news or um And it's like watch where the money's at. Like Ukraine, this whole FTX thing, how much did they say? I don't remember the number. I think it was like 8 billion or something. They were like, we made an error. We accidentally sent too much money to Ukraine. We accidentally sent $8 billion over, or extra $8 billion or whatever. Um, and it wasn't all there in the equipment. And then what did they recover from FTX like the same week? They're like, we were able to recover $8 billion from Sam Bankman-Fried's crypto scams. And then who was he like? Who was like the main lobbyist of the um Democrats, FTX, um, or donating to them. Um, and like there's a website I might already talk about this, Quiver Quantitative. There's a couple websites like this, Unusual Whales and stuff like that, but I think Quiver Quantitative has this stuff down the best and has a lot of useful stuff on there. You can see who's doing the most lobbying and stuff with all this stock stuff. So I think the way I should have had this lined out to be organized better, have tell people where to go with this stuff. But also, if anybody finds anything interesting, let us know about it. Atlantis 2 on Reddit. I feel like that's the best way to start a country is yeah, go to Atlantis 2 on Reddit. You post your schemes there, post any information that's useful for this stuff. And yeah, but I feel like the other stuff I was doing was too disorganized. So now what I'm trying to do, and hopefully people could follow along with this, if I have any good ones, is I'm just trading with 1,000. I'm gonna put anything extra into I'm just trading options with 1,000 and like try to have a maximum of 4 positions so they're really like thought out and focused and clear and people can see the reason behind them and they're going to be somewhat like maybe a little higher risk but like big big swing opportunities over a decent amount of time so people have a opportunity to really get in on them and then any profit over 1,000 I'll try and put that into actual stock and from there once we build it up enough get it in other things so we're really safe with this buy some boats buy some gold buy some beans buy some water filtration buy some hazmat suits hazmat suit I was thinking about uh might have this job up in Utah and then I was looking and I was like dang that's pretty close to uh a deposit of nuclear stuff whatever they got going on by Salt Lake and then I was like you know what I'm not going to be in the actual blast zone how much is a hazmat suit's not that expensive then you gotta have then there's going to be other people trying to get your suit then you get a couple other suits you rent them out or you go you want to live get in this suit you owe me like 3 years as an indentured servant helping build up this country is it you know it might not be a nice thing to do but that's the way you got to start thinking we're headed toward I'm joking kind of but yeah where was I going with that yeah anyway that's the plan basically and I don't know maybe there's a better way to go about this maybe some people are going to be like this is stupid this doesn't make any sense I with my investment stuff but if anybody has better ideas let me know we're just trying to make this happen any way possible um and then yeah let me know I'll post those and updates on them mostly on the Atlantis 2 Reddit. And then I should probably just post those on Instagram too, because that's probably the easiest way for people to get them. And then talk some like longer term stuff on the podcast. But yeah, you gotta start figuring out how this stuff works, because I think I really should just be going through technological slavery more, because not only is he explaining his reasoning and what's going on, but there's also a lot of useful stuff about how to start, how revolutionary movements work, and just kind of how governments work, and how and he was talking about natural selection, in which, is, okay, this organism's stronger, whatever, it makes it through. But also um in governments, and in human societies, it's like less successful groups imitate more successful groups, and that's like another, that's kind of the main form of natural selection, and how this stuff works, like. And that's kind of what I was thinking in some of the past uh podcasts. It's like, we got to figure out how is, you don't have to be like them, but like, what's Warren Buffett doing, what's Bill Gates doing, how are these people thinking? And you gotta get in their headspace. Not You don't have to manipulate people, but at least when you see how they're manipulating people, you see how you're being manipulated. And yeah, let's see. And then, even I was just listening to a thing, because this is, once you get to that level too, you gotta, sometimes you can follow the money to a certain point, and then you gotta start to go, wait, this doesn't make sense. Because honestly, once you get, there's like a certain point, you go, okay, I played the money game all the way up, and now really, what's the next thing? Like, you can add another couple billion or whatever it is, but it doesn't really matter. After that point, that's when these like families start to matter, and these kind of like royal lines people are in, and 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 where they're getting in through there, and then from there, it's just because these people play a long game, like. And that's, I feel like, it's like, it can't just be these people playing a long game. Like, we need to figure out some principles that this stuff works off of. We need to figure out some principles of how we should be operating in a better, in a little bit more sustainable kind of way. Then it can't just be the Bushes and the Gettys, and whoever these people are. But it's like, these people play a really long game, and after, like, because usually what will happen is, like, yeah, sure, every generation or couple generations of people pick up on it, and they go, hey, these people in their, castles or whatever, are doing some shady stuff. But then they forget about it, it gets washed away. Well, the people up there, they're playing this over multiple generations, and it's like and people have already forgotten about, you know COVID, and all the stuff that's happened, and they haven't really taken any lessons from it, and probably none that will get, you know used in 300 years, if we even get there. um and but like the Skull and Bones, there's Prescott Bush, there's George H.W., there's then there's George W. And then who knows who was back before that? Aleister Crowley, maybe. But and I think the Skull and Bones are really tied into like all the original like pirate stuff, which is kind of cool. Um, and kind of emerged out of that. Um, but yeah. Um, or even like the Nazis came over in paperclip, and it's like, are these the people who are these the same kind of people who are, because what were they really excited about? What were they really into was all this what's it called? Viruses and shit, all this what's it called? Whatever war. Um, but it's like they slowly messing, because they've had all this stuff for a while, and they're slowly putting it in. Like they've had this is not new stuff they did over the past, like Fauci's like been around. Um anyway. Uh oh, the Gettys though. This is I just heard this, and this is another um so one of the hires to the whole Getty oil thing. Apparently, she's actually behind the whole like just stop oil movement, and like the groups that are going in and like throwing soup on, you know, the paintings, Picasso, or I don't know, whoever the famous paintings are. Um, but it's like, then what if they're just, money, they're going, okay, whatever, we made money that really can't go away. We're secured. We're not worried about that. Let's just cause a little distractions and see if we can push people's minds. I don't know, cause all this division and get people's attention and push them in a certain direction. Um, with all the people gluing their hands to stuff. Apparently, it's all tied back the same oil people, and the Getty Museum. So it's like the collection of stuff at the Getty Museum is and this is I'm not trying to take credit for this. This is stuff I heard on Warmode, which is probably this is kind of Warmode hasn't put out an episode in a while, and I'm like, I feel like also with the stock stuff and the reading Revelations and stuff too added in. I feel like we need to really there needs to be another Warmode that and some more people, because that's what we got to do. We got to be in war mode right now. This is it. Um, but yeah, what was it? Yeah. So the collection at the Getty Museum has got to be um. It's like the best collection, right? So they go talk to one of these other museums, and they're like, all right, we're gonna send somebody in and let them, glue their hands to this shit, and then next month we'll just give you one of ours. Maybe it works out like that. Also, the Getty Museum is also tied to a bunch of the Q stuff, and apparently they're hiding people under there and everything. And it's like a lot of the Q stuff, I think, was just put out to discredit that whole movement and all the people talking about, trafficking and politics and stuff like that. And it was just like, okay, let's put out some stuff that really goes so far over the top that people don't take any of it seriously. Um, but yeah. So yeah, I think I already went over most of this. But also, you want to hear more about this stuff? I don't remember all of it, but and I'm trying to stay in what's going on right exactly now and how we can deal with it. Go listen to War Mode. It's probably um yeah. So there's only so many people you can trust now, and that's why you need smaller that's like the only show I listen to now is Alex Jones filtered through a painter and a trash truck driver. And yeah, anyway, get a lot of useful information from there. And also my intro, I was like, dang, these are like the same clips I was trying to use in my intro. And they put out a great intro every week. Anytime I'm like, what am I gonna do about this stuff? What am I doing? What am I doing? Sometimes I just go, like, what the hell is going on? And then I turn on a war mode intro and I go, all right, nice. Um, but yeah, um, I don't. Hopefully, I'm not. I did pull some information from that about the Getty and all that, but they were saying they were like all this stuff is gonna go away. But then they were like, yeah, but the next kids that come up on this stuff gotta be, staying on it. So I feel like that's us. And it's not really because I was like, hmm, what was I saying? I was gonna call this episode War Mode, and I was gonna be fired up, and then I was like, that's kind of copying it, but I don't know what to call these. Um, but I think that's just um, dang. Uh, I need to be more fired up in the morning too. I get up, but I'm just kind of a low energy guy all day, and I just try to get fired up and stay in war mode, and I kind of do. But then I only really get fired up in war mode. I'm like, all right, we can do this at night, and then. But I think it's about time. I need to wrap this up. But I was saying that yeah, go listen to war mode, and I don't know what to call episodes anymore, is what I was saying. I think that's one of my biggest problems. Prophet in the Age of Horus or whatever I called last episode. What is what? Um anyway, but yeah. Um I don't think hopefully no one would mind that I'm stealing uh the Getty Museum information, but or the Getty Museum. I'm just yeah, what is happening to me? I should be the president. I should be the president. Sometimes I think yeah, I go, yeah. Uh yeah. But I was saying all the that's what I was trying to say. I was saying I'm not trying to copy them. I'm trying to bring about more patriot researchers, bring this all together. Um, what's the other thing I was gonna go into? It's almost Friday the 13th. This is something that I was researching tonight, and I was like, oh, whoa. I was I was freaking out a little bit because I was like, wow, this stuff goes way back. Because everybody just thinks Friday the 13th is like some scary movie or something. Friday the 13th starts out as a spooky thing because Jesus, Good Friday, betrayed by the 13th disciple, Judas. Next thing you know, apparently the Knights Templar, who are like some sort of secret society that has, they're saying like you got heresy against you or whatever that means. They all get burned on Friday the 13th in 1300s or whatever this was. But now they're the Freemasons. But anyway, um, Friday comes from the word Friday comes from Frigg or Frigga, who's the Thor's mom, who represents like women and fertility and all that type of stuff. And she's associated with 13 and Friday. And then the Christians come through and they're like, that is all evil witchcraft stuff. Friday the 13th is now, we made a myth that it's a bad day because Frigg and the devil and some other people, 13 of them, all get together on Friday the 13th and they plot and they scheme and they figure out bad things to happen over the next week. So some shit could go down. Also, during the 1869, is that when it was? Is it 1869 or 1769? Something like that. During the Grant administration, some guy tries to corner the gold market by paying off all these politicians to gold um keep gold off the market, keep the price up. Grant finds out, he's like, what's going on down here? I'm gonna put $4 million of gold out there, crashes the market on Friday the 13th. The other thing is the whole United Airlines problem on, I believe it was October. I believe it was actually October 13th. Let's see. It was October 13th. October 13th, Friday, October 13th, 1989. Stock market crash occurred, referred to as Black Friday, apparently caused by a reaction to a news story, breakdown of 6.75 billion leverage buyout deal, UAL Corporation, parent company, United Airlines. And yeah. And then I was looking further into it, and what else has happened on Friday the 13th? That might be like all this stuff. But there I was reading, and this is on CNN, so I don't know why they would lie about like astrology shit. Because at first I was like, astrology is what people go, I'm Aquarius, so new season is it's gonna be a good time. Things gonna be okay. Wow. Um, this is different, and a lot of people are on to some. I don't know if they're on to some stuff, but a lot of higher up people take this stuff seriously. A lot of like royal type people must be having C-sections or something on to have their kids on certain dates and stuff. And then it makes you go, okay, is this stuff, are they like chosen by the universe or whatever? Or is this planned out years and generations in advance? That brings us to Taylor Swift. Bam. Because I don't know why CNN would lie about this. I should probably double check it, but they do lie about stuff. But I don't know why they would lie about Taylor Swift being in the 13. But it's like, it's usually a creepy number, but Taylor Swift is into it. Because think about Frigg is supposed to represent uh She's like the female goddess, represents all that stuff. Who's the biggest over the past 10 years? Who's the biggest female artist that like has the most pull probably of anybody in like the last 10 years? Who's keeping up all the who's keeping up the economy right now? Who's it's Taylor Swift. And start going in this because I said, all right, you know what? I'm gonna stop with the whole war mode for a second. I'm gonna stop doing my Patriot research, trying to scheme. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna eat, and I'm gonna see what other people are doing, watching Taylor Swift and whatnot. So if there's any weird symbology in this, and I'm watching Taylor Swift video, she's playing a piano. On the side of the piano, 1989. And I'm going, what's that from? She's got an album called 1989. That's the year she's born. Also, the same year of the Black Friday market crash, October 13th. Taylor Swift, okay, maybe I'm drawing lines that aren't there, but Taylor Swift born December 13th, 1989. Then I found an article says she's born on the 13th, has her 13th birthday on Friday the 13th. Then and it's like, okay, some of this is just lucky it happens, but then it's like some of this is planned. Turned 13 on Friday the 13th. First album went gold in 13 weeks. Number one song, 13-second intro. Every time she wins an award, is seated in the 13th seat, 13th row, 13th section, or row M, which is the 13th letter. So I don't know. It's interesting to see. And there's probably a lot of other people who are onto this stuff, or maybe it's just because she believes in it or whatever, that she's chosen by Frigg or whatever, but something has a pull enough. There's enough of a pull with her and Frigg or whatever that gets these girls to pay ridiculous amounts to go watch her. People are wearing fucking adult diapers, shitting themselves to watch this stuff, sitting around watching her sing about uh uh the about how bad her boyfriend was or whatever. Some of it's nice, some of it's not all that, but it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know. It's pretty interesting stuff. And I don't know. I wasn't really like a hunter. Like there's definitely something to all this astrology stuff and all this weird number stuff. Um, you don't want to go too far into it, but there's something there. Chris Neltner's into it, And it's like at first I was going, but then I'm going, might actually be onto some stuff. Not to be gross. He was talking about semen retention. I was going, how does this guy have the energy to do that guy, he's on to a lot of things, I gotta say. I was like, how does he have the energy to ski, to make these videos, to argue with people on the internets all day? And he said semen retention. And I was like, whoa. Because now who knows how long it's been, and I feel focused. I'm in war mode right now. Also, I should I should probably make sure I'm still functional, because when I was pedicabbing, I don't know who. This is another thing I've been thinking about: who designed the fucking bike seat? Because I get you got a bike, you ride around. Ooh, I'm riding my bike. But when you're riding like 12 hours, like, and then you're on like a regular bike seat it's like who they design these bike seats for? 'Cause especially if you're sitting on it all the time, not if you're like really riding like a regular bike, but if you're just sitting riding along, just pulling people around all day, it's like uh, who are these? Just do they just is this another segment of a government um uh what's the word? What's the word I'm trying to think of? Come on, come on. Um Government depopulation campaign, because I was getting sore down there. I was going, I guess, I'm gonna get through this. I'm making money, but bike seats, another thing to think about. I might have to end this. I had a lot of other stuff to get into. Um, but I've been sick last week. Um my throat's kind of having a problem again. And you ever get sick though? So all right, get yourself pack a nicotine gum. Get back to work. I don't know. Ugh. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna cover a lot of this other stuff later, but I want to say I'm Petty Cabin, and there's an attack at ACL tomorrow, which honestly maybe I foresaw somehow because I believe it was Saturday, pretty sure. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, dang, I just kind of had like a epiphany of like what if there's a bombing or something here? I was like, no, if I can help it, God willing. That doesn't happen. Next thing, one of the other petty cabbers playing. I gotta go get a speaker, whatever. One of the other petty cabbers, he's playing War Pigs, War Pig with the. And I was like, that's kind of an interesting song to play right now. I believe that was actually the same day that attack was. Pretty interesting. Um, but yeah, there's an attack at ACL. I'm gonna be like, some paragliders start coming down. I'm gonna be like, hmm, huh. That's all you can do sometimes. I'm not saying it's a good. I'm not saying someone should do terrorism at ACL, but there's no but. Don't do it. Don't do it. That'd be a bad thing. Um, but if someone did, I would go, hmm. And then hopefully people would see the paragliders, right? And then they would see them and they'd get out of there. It's the other thing I don't understand. People that fucking zonked out, listen to music so loud they can barely hear. Let me sit here and listen to the devil or whoever's playing. They don't see the paragliders coming down. Rest in peace, to all those people. Apparently, were they crisis actors? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, I need to go through a lot of important life lessons that I've learned through pedicab at, at ACL and all that stuff, but might do that later. Um, I should do it now. You never know. You never know when hummus is gonna come get you. Um, or lesson I learned while I was pedicab. Don't trust anybody. They tell you to play. Wait, let me make sure I covered everything else through here. Yeah. They tell you to play Glorilla, Cardi B. Now I know. Scammers. So only a couple people ever ran off without paying me. This one guy one time last year, maybe I was charging a little bit too much, but I was moving. I was trying to get it in, you know. I charged him less. Would he pay me? I don't know. Big guy. Looked like Davies with the little braids back like that. Acting all cool and shit. Little greasy little shoes, you know. Bring some girl back to her house. Then have me take him down to the fucking hen house or some fucking nasty place downtown. And I don't get into other people's business, you know. But I was going, hey, maybe I should fucking go back up to that house and be like, hey, that guy I just brought down the hen house, make sure he contacts me, owe me fucking $60. But it is what it is. I try to get in there, they wouldn't let me in there. Ducked out of there really quick. I'll see him later. And I'm like, hey, it's not going through, right? I already got a ride, and then she's being just a total total bozo, asking me to weave around people. This is what we pay you to do. I'm trying to be safe. I had a fucking movement. This is a course of human history. I gotta fucking survive, right? But go try and deal with that, and it's like not going through or whatever. He probably doesn't have any money. That's what happens when you're greasy. And he's like, oh, it's not going through. I'm gonna make sure it goes through. Anyway, that was like last year. This is ACL last night. Not last night, like 4 days ago. Um, I play Gorilla and play it. The one girl pays me $10. I'm like $10 per person. I'm like, oh, thank you so much, having a fair price. Paid me $10. I get down there, they go, oh, I figured they would pay me because they said you got a fair price. They're acting nice and stuff. One already paid me. Then I said, oh, just send me his Venmo and can we just pay you in a second? I don't think they forgot because I messaged and I was like, I don't know if you forgot. I said, don't get funny. I need my money. But I'm gonna see him again. That's another good lesson. Anybody ever ask you to play Cardi B, ever ask you to play Gorilla, say, get the fuck away from me. I don't have any cash on me. Get away from me. I'm gonna need you to step off or somebody gets hurt. So unbelievable. Only $20, but still, we need that for our movement. They don't understand how important this is. Those are bonobos. We don't need to worry about them. The bonobos do bonobo things and they end up in bonobo places. And they're dying off. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it. But and here at Atlantis too, we're chimps, and regardless of what they do, we're gonna make it through. But that's another life lesson that's brought to you. Don't trust anybody. playing that kind of music, serious scammer vibes. That's another thing I'm thinking about. That's why I didn't want to talk about all this fucking news, Twitter bullshit going on. I don't want to talk about fucking the president and Greta Thunberg or Amber Tate. But it's got to be talked about because I notice a lot of people are on that and a lot of people are influenced and listen to scammers. There's a lot of bad things to be. I think the worst thing is got to be a scammer. It's got to be somebody who doesn't say what they're really about. It doesn't matter what you say after that. Doesn't matter if some of it is right. Doesn't matter if some of it's the truth. Doesn't matter if some of it's helpful. Can't be trusted after that point. You're a fucking scammer. You're deceiving people. You're manipulating people. People are listening to people like fucking Cardi B and Andrew Tate and all these people. It's disgusting. Nothing. Maybe I wouldn't feel the same way if I hadn't got scammed before and I hadn't learned those important life lessons from the fake Martin Scorelli and from uh whoever those other people out there, you know, God bless them. You know, I kind of understand it. If you're in a hut in Nigeria, all you got is an iPad, you're just trying to feed your family. Hopefully there's some other option they can do instead of that, but probably what a lot of it is. But still, it's just absolutely disgusting. People are listening to people who are known scammers, who are known liars, who are drugging people, taking their money, who are pretending to be um, social media whores on the internet. That's why you gotta stay away from that stuff. You gotta, once you get that stuff out of the way a little bit, and I got on Twitter once, I went, this is crazy. People are on here just, here's my opinion all day long about some stuff that doesn't really affect them. I saw that. It was very tempting to get on here, become a full-time troll, but I said I'm going to stay away from all this, right? It's a lot of people are watching out there. Also, once you get away from all these, if you can see drugs as a tool that you can use, I believe that's good. That's a good thing. Or as, have some fun, not let it get too out of hand. It's not stay up too late. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know why people don't set things back a little farther. Why can't people should do more drugs in the morning? Just think about it. It makes more throughout the day, slowly. I don't know what's going on sometimes. I don't know if a lot of these people are real. A lot of times you think about it, you could be in a simulation being tested, you know? Something to think about. It's probably not a bad way to live your life. That's even what Miyamoto Musashi talking about. Talking about you're being tested here. You're being tested. You start thinking about how I want to die right now. Who do I want to be? How am I being tested here? Probably gonna do a lot better. You're not gonna be doing some short-term thinking because that's what a lot of these people are on. They're on short-term thinking. Those people, that's one thing I really don't like. People think they're getting over on you, and you're going, no, you're really just a dickhead. You're really just a piece of shit, you know? You know, haha, we ran off, we didn't pay him. It's like, all right, that guy going, oh, it's not going through, I'll send it to you. And it's like, all right, the luck will run out eventually. That's just gonna catch up to you. And I don't know if it's karma or whatnot. People say stuff like that. I don't think that's actually it. I think it's just a general principle of you doing short-term thinking. And it works out, it works out, it works out, just like trading. You're doing some stupid stuff. If you go in 100% on every trade, can work out, can work out, work out, and then the one time it doesn't, it comes and gets you. See, if you do some shady stuff, you go, yeah, I got your $50. Wait here, white boy, and you never show up again. Trade a genuine guy. Got some, you know, he lives on the street, does some hate to and shit. But a lot of these people, even if they don't live on the street, even if they rise to some sort of position, even if they get to a certain level of a lot of people listen to people just because they've gotten to some level of money or fame or some materialistic thing that people see, and it's like, why do you listen? Like, I don't. You go on Twitter and you're like, what? Why do I? What is this? Why do I care? I don't know these whores. I don't know these. That's the whole thing with this. People just gravitate towards what is easy and materially attractive, and it's I mean, there's not always something. I wonder if the AC was ever going. Hopefully, I didn't throw off the podcast at all, but that's it's not all a bad thing, right? But you don't want to just be going after that. Because that leads to, and I didn't say this again, I'm not trying to take credit for people's stuff, but a sterile death. I heard somebody say that. I think it was Owen Benjamin. I think he had a really, really concise and really well put thing he was saying about this stuff, about these people who are just feeding you into. This is my view on it. Maybe it's not the right view. I don't know. That's what I'm saying about all this stuff. I'm saying I don't know. I'm saying at this point, a couple weeks ago when I was reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I was going, all right, maybe I should try and gain a following. Joe Diaz is right. You don't need all these people. I hope a lot of people listen to this. I hope a lot of people think about this stuff, and I hope it leads to good things. But a couple bad motherfuckers to take over a country, right? And it's like I was trying to get people on Atlantis to Reddit and stuff, and they're going, doesn't make any sense. What is this stuff you're posting, right? And I was trying to explain it to them, and then it's like, it's a chart. It's like, I'm not gonna, or it's like, it's sad. A lot of people either go, no, that's stupid. I don't want any part in it. Here's this kid. What's he doing? Or they go, yeah, just tell me what to do. There's people who are like kind of tapped out, or there's people who are constant pokers who just poke at every fucking thing you do. And who just want to say something. It's like they're speaking, they're not saying anything. And it's like, if you see something I'm doing wrong, tell me how it's wrong and how we can move forward, or back up how it's right. But it's like that's what I'm going for. I'm not trying to. People are going like, oh, people are trying to. What's your like? I'm taking this pretty seriously. Like somebody asked me like, oh, somebody's gonna try to under. What happens if somebody tries to take over your leadership in Atlantis too? I'm not trying to be the leader of this. I want everybody to be the leader of this. Everybody to be to lead. I mean, that's not really realistic. The table's not. It doesn't have to be perfectly round, you know. It just can't get to a huge huge rectangle with a couple people at the end, you know. Um, yeah, but I think that's one of the main principles. I'm gonna write that down, and I have a lot of our Constitution written out, and a lot of the fundamentals, which is the most important thing. I think after that, you don't need. That's what Miyamoto Musashi is saying. And if that works for sword fighting, if that works for 60 fucking duels, I think it works for a lot of things. And then you could also go, maybe you don't want to listen to Miyamoto Musashi because he did kill a lot of people, but that was just the times, you know, that was medieval Japan. You walk around and you go, hey, you go, "Hey, huh? I'll fucking kill you." And then you do, and that's the way things go. Um, but yeah, that's this whole thing is master the fundamentals, and then you go into everything with a clear state of mind. That's why I trust Sean Strickland, because that's kind of what is I think is kind of his fighting style. People like, how does he get beat with just a simple combination? But that's like when I saw his the kind of nothing super fancy, but it's just perfect. And then he goes into it calm, you know, evened out, kind of joking around. And yeah. But I think that you can do that with like anything in life. And that's what Miyamoto Musashi talks about, making your everyday stance, your combat stance, your combat stance, your everyday stance. You're in it all the time. You mastered the fundamentals, and you're just going in, clear mind. You're ready. You're not, no, you can't really plan on anything in life. Things could go. Obviously, you gotta be like, okay, I gotta go to work at this time or whatever, stuff like that. Or like, I gotta do this at this time. But you don't want to have strict plans. If you're going into a fight or whatever, you gotta go in kind of cleared out, just ready to adapt. That's it, adapting. Um, but yeah, I think I have a lot of the basics, and hopefully people will be able to point out, I don't think this is right, or let's extrapolate on this. This is really something here, but a lot of the basics about how I think everything works, and then how you can apply that through just for kind of life in general. But I think the other side of that definitely needs to be the economics of how this whole thing is going to function, which I really need to do a lot of more research in, and probably need to pull from a lot of people who know a lot more than I do. But I was kind of thinking maybe the main problem is just debt. Maybe debt should be like frowned upon, because I feel like that's a source of all these economic problems. It's just debt, and people going beyond beyond their means, kind of. And that if there wasn't that, people would have to live kind of more near the same level, and through like there'd be less manipulation, and there'd be more people like working together. So it's like, yeah, we live. I think people should live in a less restricted, a less law restricted society, and a more morally restrictive society. And really, yeah, pay attention to the big picture. I think that's what we're missing right now. And I think people listen to something that sounds smart that Biden says. Biden doesn't really say anything smart, but not anymore. He sounds good in those past videos. Like I kind of like. I kind of sometimes I go. I kind of like the guy. I kind of not really, but the Bushes or any of these people. You go, dang, they're really doing it. $4 million every year Kamala Harris made. She say what you want about her. She's doing it. Or every year she's been in office. We gotta pay attention though, who people have been the whole way through. And that's why it's like, yeah, Trump says something nice every once in a while. But did he switch up on his stance? Did he get in at first and he was saying, I'm gonna look into all this vaccine stuff? And then I don't know how it happened. Maybe he was just dumb. Maybe he thought it was the right thing to do. Maybe he was forced to. Maybe they paid him. But Pfizer came in and he said, here's the vaccine, everybody. And supported that whole thing. So you gotta watch when people switch up like that. That's why it's like there's only been like JFK, I guess, was like someone who's and maybe who knows about the Kennedys. I try to not put my faith into not anybody I don't know, except Sean Strickland and the guys from Warmode, because um yeah, but you gotta have people. That's why I would be like, if I had to choose between any of these candidates for president and Ammon Bundy, 100%. Is he a little far out there on a couple issues? Yeah, but and who knows? That's just my opinion. That's just his opinion. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know if there is a right answer. But when I talk to him, he's got um genuinely good intentions from what I picked up on. And he believes in something and he'll stick with it all the way. He's not gonna switch up for anything. Um and that's what you need. I mean, not people who can't change their mind when the correct evidence is there, but he's not corruptible. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna stick no matter how it benefits him or doesn't benefit him, he's gonna stick with what he believes in. And yeah. I don't really know if I have anything to add to that. Just basically that's my whole strategy now. Is like, and once you get off all these distractions, all these dilutions of social media, and you can use drugs as tools, as I was saying, which is great, but a lot of people use drugs as distractions. I'm trying to think what else. technology and drugs are kind of the main thing that are distracting people. And I'm not saying they can obviously, it's like a huge, I feel like technology is like just solidifies the gap of if you could either use it to build great things and like really advance, or it could hold you back and distract you. And that's going to be a big gap in people that we see happen over the next however long we got. I feel like being sick has really turned up my mind a little bit. Um, and nicotine gum and horny goat weed extract and being highly caffeinated. Um, but yeah, because once I still probably am distracted too much of the time, and I'm trying to move all these different ways. But once you're focused and you see what's like going on, you kind of get fired up on another level, and you're like, fuck. Um, but basically, yeah, that's a plan. I'm gonna put out Atlantis 2 on Reddit. Got any ideas, schemes? Put them up. Anybody wants to come on the podcast? Come on. Um, yeah, we got to make this happen. We got a couple of years to get prepared, and I know this is one of the best times, I think, to really make some change. There's going to be some chaos, and chaos can throw you off, or if you're prepared and you're ready to adapt, it can be a ladder. Um, yeah. Anyway, that's all I got. It's just like that's kind of my mindset with all this stuff that's going on. Is like, okay, probably not worth it for me to have a side on any of this stuff to look into this, but like how can you use it, not to stop putting our faith in these, because it's like I watched like RFK and stuff. He seems great. I'll go into that more later, maybe. Like one, or especially when he came out as independent, but it's like he seems great, but one, how much effect does the president really have over your life? And two, is there even going to be an election? I don't know. But I think we'd probably be a lot happier trying to do this stuff ourselves, regardless of what place Atlantis 2, what it actually becomes. So yeah. Um, that's it. I was looking for I need a good way to end this off. Thank you for listening. This went kind of long. Should have been more organized and split it up, but hopefully be more consistent and put out the other stuff with maybe read some Bible stuff, talk about Ray Dalio, which he said this is another step toward international war, and I think it is. Um, go into that, and yeah, hopefully be more consistent. And thanks for listening. And bam.